The views and opinions expressed on this channel are solely those of the host and guest and are intended for entertainment and discussion purposes only. This channel does not promote bias, hatred, or discrimination of any kind. All questions posed and thoughts shared are part of a critical thinking exercise and are not meant to offend or judge any individual or group. We encourage respectful dialogue and love for all. Please remember to think critically and engage thoughtfully. We aim to foster a positive and inclusive community where everyone feels welcome. Thank you for being a part of Risky Behavior ENT.
Risky behavior. Risky behavior.
Yo, what's up? How y'all doing? Welcome back. This is Risky Behavior ENT. I am your host, Mr. Diabolical himself. If you're reading the title, it's Mom Arrested After Boyfriend Sexually Assaulted and Killed Baby. This is a very sad story. Just to sum up what we're going to be talking about today, in this episode, I'm going to break down the murder of 2-year-old Bre'yeon Wells out of St. Louis. I'm going to be focusing on the predator who killed him and the mother whose decision to put him in harm's way with that boyfriend. More on that as we get into the story. I'm going to talk about the background of the mother, who is Bianca Wells, the night of the 911 call, and we're going to even go over the medical examiner's findings of strangulation and sexual assault to the arrest and the confession of that boyfriend, who is Nicco Cotton, the man she repeatedly left her child with. Okay. Man, it's a sad story, man. I know reporting on this one is going to bother me, and just reading over what happened in this case is just troubling. So let me go ahead and get into my intro. Remember, as you come into the building, go ahead and smash that like button to support the channel. I don't, it ain't necessary that nobody give me no money, anything like that, but smash the like button. It is free. So I want to welcome you back to Risky Behavior ENT, where we don't just where we do not sugarcoat, we don't tiptoe, and we don't protect grown-ass adults from accountability. I'm Diabolical, and today we're breaking down a case that exposes brutal truth. The wrong man can destroy your life, but the wrong decision from a parent can destroy a child's life. This story isn't just about a predator. It's about a mother who ignored danger, dismissed red flags, and made choices that cost her son everything. Let's go and get into it. Once again, we're talking about the case of Bre'yeon Wells. He was a 2-year-old boy living in St. Louis whose mom left him with her boyfriend, and that boyfriend, he sexually assaulted him, and then he strangled him and killed him. Go ahead and share my screen, and we're gonna get into this. We got quite a bit of information to get into. But I don't think it'll take too long. But it's an important story, so I want to bring awareness to it. All righty, let's break some news. It's a sick world we live in, I'm telling you.
Now, on a story we brought you last night, a 21-year-old man named Nicco Cotton is connected to Monday's death of 2-year-old Bre'yeon Wells in the Mark Twain neighborhood, has turned himself in to police. The boy's death was ruled a homicide after medical examiners found evidence The child was strangled. Police are now saying the suspect is charged with sexual abuse of that child. The child's family held a balloon release in his honor earlier tonight.
He had never had a bad day. Bre'yeon was the light of all of our lives, and he will greatly be missed. And we want to thank you all for your support.
In addition to the sexual abuse charges, the man is also being charged with second-degree murder. The investigation is ongoing.
All right, so here on this article, we got 2-year-old's death caused by sexual assault. 21-year-old caregiver charged for toddler's death. They're saying caregiver, but this is the boyfriend of the mom. And the mom is Bianca Wells. Let's go ahead and get into this article. Out of St. Louis, a suspect has turned himself in following the strangulation of a 2-year-old boy in the Mark Twain neighborhood. The St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department announced Thursday police arrived at the 4900 block of Thekla on October the 27th around 10:40 p.m. in regards to a 2-year-old boy who was unresponsive. The toddler, identified as Bre'yeon Wells, was taken to a nearby hospital, but officials pronounced him dead. Since his death, homicide detectives assumed responsibility for the investigation. 2 days after the incident, the medical examiner's office determined that Bre'yeon's body showed signs of strangulation as well as other injuries related to sexual assault, according to court records. Two adults who were with Wells were questioned but were released pending the investigation. The adults were not Bre'yeon's parents, according to police. The call made to police on October 27th also came from a house where the child didn't live. Wells' cause of death was ruled a homicide. Now, according to police, a 21-year-old man who was allegedly connected to Bre'yeon's murder, turned himself into police on Thursday, October the 30th. That man was identified as Nicco Cotton. According to the probable cause statement, after being Mirandized, Cotton told officials that he was the sole caregiver for Wells on October the 27th and had been for several days. So it says here the police department said Cotton remains in custody and is facing the following charges: second-degree murder, abuse or neglect of a child, resulting in death, sodomy or attempted sodomy, first degree, statutory sodomy, deviate sexual intercourse. A balloon release in honor of Bre'yeon was held on Thursday. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I get this video to play, man. Sometimes I don't know why. Every time I get to a video like this, it act like it don't want to play. All righty. Anywho, let's get more into to this. So like I was saying before, Bre'yeon Wells was a 2-year-old boy living in St. Louis with his mother, Bianca Wells, age 21, who was young, struggling, and leaning heavily on the man she trusted, 21-year-old Nicco Cotton, to babysit her son. But prosecutors say Bianca knew Cotton was unsafe and she left her child with him anyway. Now, here's the thing about this case is when it first came out, they, of course, arrested Cotton because he turned himself in. But after Cotton was arrested, now the mom is in trouble because they're holding her accountable for leaving her child with this man. Because they're saying that she knew her child would be at risk while in custody of this guy. So right here it says mom charged with child endangerment after man accused of sexually assaulting, murdering her 2-year-old. Police say throughout October, Bianca Wells left her son in the care of Nicco Cotton, knowing it would put him at risk. Cotton is accused of murder and sodomy. I'm gonna see if it gets that video gets to play, but don't worry about it. I got a video from Law and Crime that's gonna break this case down. So here it says, weeks after a man was charged with killing a toddler in the Mark Twain neighborhood, the boy's mother is now charged in his death. Wednesday, St. Louis prosecutors charged Bianca Wells, age 21, with endangering the welfare of a child, resulting in death. In a probable cause statement, St. Louis police said throughout October, but specifically on or about October 27, Wells left her 2-year-old son in the care of Nicco Cotton, a person she knew based on his prior conduct to be a substantial risk to her son's safety. October 27 is when police said emergency responders found the toddler near the intersection of Interstate 70 and St. Louis Avenue. Police said the victim had asphyxial and abdominal injuries, along with injuries consistent with sexual assault. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Wells was released from jail on sponsored recognizance, meaning a person or organization has to provide support and ensure Wells shows up to court while the case is ongoing. Cotton is still held with no bond, charged with second-degree murder, child abuse, and sodomy. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for December the 1st. And look at these two. I mean, this is what they talk about, I guess, when they say children having children. Oh man. Oh my God. Let me go ahead and jump into this. So anyway, shout out to Law and Crime. Let's go ahead and get into this video more into this case.
Start by warning you that the details of this story are extremely disturbing. It is every parent's worst nightmare. It's the kind of thing that you tell yourself could never, ever happen to you. You have a St. Louis mother, Bianca Wells, who left her 2-year-old son, Bre'yeon, with someone that she trusted completely, her own boyfriend, 21-year-old Nicco Cotton. She went to work believing that her happy, loving little boy was safe and sound. In fact, I'll tell you what, just look at this video of Bre'yeon that his aunt shared on Facebook, okay? This is the vibrant, joyful little boy that his family knew.
Shake it.
That's the memory that his family is now left with. Because what happened next is the stuff of nightmares. On October 27th, Bre'yeon was rushed to the hospital unresponsive and later died. And then came a horrifying revelation from the police. They say this wasn't an accident, that the babysitter, the man that his mother trusted, allegedly confessed to killing this child. But he didn't just harm the child, no. Authorities say he sexually assaulted and strangled this 2-year-old boy. According to a probable cause affidavit, the medical examiner found that Bre'yeon had a lacerated liver. The cause of death was ruled a homicide from multiple internal and asphyxial injuries. So how does a story that begins with the laugh of this sweet little boy end like this? We've been digging through the court documents. We've been digging through the police reports to try to get just a picture here, a clear chronological picture of what happened. This.
Man, shout out to Richard says trash mom, and I damn sure agree with that. And y'all heard it correctly. Lacerated liver. He sodomized this child, a 2-year-old, a baby. He sodomized them.
Case. So according to the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, this all started with a call for help.
That sweet baby, that monster, that demon, that devil, That's what he did to this baby.
October 27th, it's around 10:40 p.m. Police were called to a house in the Mark Twain neighborhood for a 2-year-old boy who was unresponsive. Officials arrive. They rush this child, who again was identified as Bre'yeon Wells, to a nearby hospital where he was declared deceased. And now there are a few critical details here that we want to talk about, because police confirmed to local outlet Fox 2 that the 2 adults who were with Bre'yeon were not his parents. We have learned that this call came from a house where the child didn't even live. According to a probable cause statement, the man watching him, again, was Bianca Wells' boyfriend, 21-year-old Nicco Cotton, and police say Cotton told them he was the, quote, sole caregiver for the child on October 27th and had been there for several days. Now, initially, the child abuse unit took over the investigation, deeming the circumstances suspicious. The adults present, including Cotton, they were questioned and released pending that investigation. But the break in the case came from the medical examiner's report 2 days later. Why? October 29th, the medical examiner's office said that the little boy's body had evidence of strangulation as well as other injuries. The report ruled the death a homicide, finding Bre'yeon died from, quote, multiple internal and asphyxial injuries, including a lacerated liver, and also showed signs of sexual assault. So with this evidence, the case was then transferred to homicide detectives. And faced with these findings, Nicco Cotton turned himself in on October 30th. It was then, according to the probable cause affidavit, that he allegedly confessed, admitting to sexually assaulting and strangling Bre'yeon. Now, he has since been charged with second-degree murder, forcible sodomy, statutory sodomy, abuse of a child resulting in death. And it is in that probable cause affidavit where the alleged confession becomes even more disturbing and even more graphic and even more specific. The document states that after being read his rights, the defendant, Nicco Cotton, and that progression is important, right? Allegedly saying this after being read his rights, that is when he didn't just admit to the assault, he detailed it. And this is so beyond disgusting and graphic that we're not going to read you the whole thing in its entirety. But essentially, police claim that Cotton.
This is why we need to bring back torturing devices, man. I'm going to just say it. We need to bring back torturing devices for sick ass motherfuckers like this. I'm telling you. I don't give a damn who disagrees with that.
Engaged in sexual activity with this child, this 2-year-old child. And during that activity, he, quote, bit and strangled the child. The child's death was the result of the multiple injuries he suffered during the sexual assault. It is a level of alleged brutality that is almost impossible to comprehend, especially when you remember, again, that vibrant little boy at the center of it. So following Bre'yeon's tragic passing, his aunt shared these videos to show the world who this little boy was.
To show you how brutal it is, he sexually assaulted a baby to death. That's how brutal this guy was. What kind of evil, like what kind of person does something that like that? That's demon level possession, demonic behavior. This is a person with no soul at all. This is when people say there's a special place in hell for you.
Why do you look like a grown man? No. Hey. Shake it.
Again, that laugh, those clapping hands. This is the child that his family is now forced to mourn. In her grief, Bre'yeon's mother, Bianca Wells, told KMOV that this feels like something out of the TV shows that she watches, saying, I watch Law and Order all day, so to feel like this is me and this is my baby, the happiest baby in the world, he doesn't deserve this. Feels like my heart is shattered. It doesn't feel like I have air in my lungs right now.
Now that's from the mom, but remember, after she makes that statement, mother charged after toddler's death in the city of St. Louis. She gets charged after that.
involving a young child. An update to another tragic story involving a young child. Another person now charged after this toddler, 2-year-old Bre'yeon Wells, died. Bre'yeon's mother, Bianca Wells, now facing 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child, resulting in death. According to the probable cause statement, the mother left her son in the care of a person who she knew, based on his prior conduct, posed a substantial risk to the child. That person being referred to is Nicco Cotton there on your screen. Last month, he turned himself in to police. According to court documents, Cotton admitted to sexually assaulting and strangling 2-year-old Bre'yeon. He faces multiple charges, including second-degree murder, forcible sodomy, and abuse of a child, resulting in death. An update to another.
Oh man, I'm telling you, insane. Yo, what up, Fanatic? Man, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate your support. Thank you also for being a mod on this channel. I appreciate you so much, and thank you. Thank you for that. Fanatic says, poor thing. Prison justice is better than nothing. Yeah, poor thing. I can't believe somebody would do this to a baby, man. And with the videos that the aunt shared, just man, children are just so innocent, and giggling, full of life, love, and laughter. And this guy sodomized this kid. This child, during the autopsy, they found had a lacerated liver. He just brutalized this baby. It's just insane. I can't even wrap my mind around it or comprehend it, man. I'm telling you, man. And the mom, I'm telling you, man, who these people allowed to be around these kids, I can say this, man. I'm glad that they're holding her accountable. I'm glad they are. That she doesn't get to put her kid in danger, and that kid gets sodomized and killed, and she just gets to walk away with the rest of her life. I'm glad they're holding her accountable. I'm sorry, I don't feel bad for her at all. Shout out to Unusual says, damn shame, bro. I'm a damn shame. It is. This is one of them things you had a loss for words. All you can do is shake your head. Shout out to Moby Dick says, what did I walk into? Wow. Yeah, Moby, yeah. This is a wild one. When I seen this, I damn near passed out. I couldn't believe this. A 2-year-old. I mean, the age don't matter. I mean, it would have been a horrible crime either way, but just a 2-year-old? Bro, that baby still had on like pull-ups and diapers, man. I mean, this is a baby. Let's see. Fanatic says, what's scary as hell is the dude probably had the whole thing planned after crashing out with the mom at some point. I believe so. And Fanatic, man, I mean, this man was described as the caregiver. So I mean, this mom just gave this guy just full access to her child, just full access. He is not the child's father. I read another article. Let me see, do I still got that up? All right, this is a little bit of a background. It's from Homicide Tracker, Bre'yeon Wells. The father of the child is passed away, because I was reading where the mother, Bianca Wells, she had made a post saying rest in peace to the child's father. So this article is based off of somebody named Johnston, I think might be the aunt, but this is just the background to the mom. So it says here, Bre'yeon and his mother, just 21 years old, went from being homeless without any support to keeping a job, renting an apartment, and getting baptized. She was getting ready to enroll in school, Johnston said. But Johnston also described the mother's tragic decision to leave her child with a friend. She had to work, Johnston explained, and she recently totaled her car, so she didn't have any transportation. So here you got the picture being painted of a mom in a desperate situation. That's understandable, but you still can't leave your kid with monsters. She was not a bad mom, Johnston said. She was a trying mom. There is no book on parenting. I hate when people say that. That's no excuse. There is no foundation of knowing how to take care of a child. She was trying, and she had the love and support of people trying to help her learn. She had a big vocabulary despite this is about the kid. He had a big vocabulary despite his young age and was curious about people in the earth. He loved flowers and Bluey the cartoon dog and his friends. He didn't know a stranger, she said. He was just so loving. And I'm pretty sure this is the aunt giving these details because she's the one that was in touch with law and crime and giving them videos to post for the story. He was just so loving. Meanwhile, his mom got a job at Raising Cane's. She got an apartment. She suffered a recent setback when she totaled her car, but she was saving for another. On the weekend, she dropped the baby off with Johnston so she can go to work. There, Johnston's 4 children got to know Bre'yeon too. He became a part of their family. On Monday, Johnston got the call her godson was dead. Okay, so this is the godmother speaking. On Monday, Johnston got the call her godson was dead. Come to Cardinal Glennon now. Johnston picked up her own children. Everyone was concerned. They headed over to the hospital, but they weren't allowed inside, Johnston said. My whole family just broke down, she said. On Thursday, prosecutors charged Nicco, I guess this is middle name, Lawton Raymond Cotton, age 21, with killing, sodomizing, and abusing Bre'yeon. Charges say his preliminary causes of death was asphyxiation, and he showed signs of sexual abuse, as well as a lacerated liver and abdominal injuries. Oh, man. It's just sad. Just sad, man. I'm trying to see if this article adds anything else to it. Nope. Yeah. Let's get back into this video.
She also shared a message for other families, a warning born from her own tragedy, saying, support your family, be there for them, because you could be like me and have nothing. She also told the outlet that one of the only comforts she has is that Bre'yeon is in a better place with his father. The boy's godmother, Latoya Johnston, told the St. Louis Dispatch that Wells didn't have much support. That's why she left him with someone she trusted while she worked long shifts. Johnston told the paper, quote, she was not a bad mom. She was a trying mom. There's no book on parenting. There's no foundation of knowing how to take care of a child. She was trying, and she had the love and support of people trying to help her learn. Now, Nicco Cotton remains in custody, again facing these charges of second-degree murder, forcible sodomy, statutory sodomy, abuse of a child resulting in death. I think it's important, once again, to remember to say what these charges are, and now we want to talk about it. I want to bring in right now trial attorney Allie Young. Allie, thank you so much for taking the time. It's always good to see you. This is an awful case on so many different levels. And, you know, when you think about these accusations, when you think about these charges, it almost seems unbelievable. It's hard to grasp it. It's hard to wrap your mind around someone allegedly doing this to someone else. But if you start with this alleged confession, right? You have a defendant allegedly confessing to this, providing details about this. Is that just handing the prosecution a conviction on a silver platter? And you also have to wonder, why would someone confess to this? I mean, for this case, thank goodness, you know, if he really did this, you get a conviction easily. In a terrible situation, probably the cleanest resolution you can have. But isn't it interesting that he would allegedly confess to this and why he would do it?
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope that this will help put a nail in the coffin of a conviction here on all counts. But at the same time, you have to wonder, why just walk in and give a Mirandized statement and say, yeah, you did exactly what they are alleging you did to this young boy? It's heinous. It's hard to understand. And it just hurts people's hearts that read the probable cause statement, the charging document, that read any news articles regarding it. So it definitely leaves you wondering why he would just make a full confession to it.
do defense attorneys say, hey, even if the police say that he confessed, we can try to show coercion, his mental state? I mentioned the progression, right? If he allegedly confesses after being read his Miranda rights, do they try to say, hey, the Miranda rights weren't read properly, he didn't hear them, he didn't understand them? I mean, what are avenues that we could potentially expect from a defense attorney?
Sure. We look towards whether or not the Miranda warnings were given appropriately, first off. So then you would hope that the police gave them at the appropriate time. They weren't asking guilt-seeking questions prior to.
Yes, let's hope the police did not fumble the ball on this one, especially on a serious case like this.
Giving Miranda, but then afterwards we would look to see what kind of what the interview looks like. I mean, is the interview open-ended and letting the defendant or potential defendant kind of just give his story? Are they force-feeding him these answers? You'd look to see if it's a false confession. I mean, we hear about that on Dateline all the time, things like that about a false confession being given because of a low IQ, a low understanding or cognitive ability to really speak on behalf of oneself. And so if a police officer or detective is sitting in an interview being very forceful with someone with low cognitive abilities and insisting that they did something over and over and over again for a lengthy period of time, we might look to see if that that confession was coerced or not voluntary, as we would say.
But even if you put the confession to the side, the evidence seems overwhelming. Aside from where the call was placed, right? The call, that in and of itself, this young boy, this baby essentially was, where he was. The medical evidence, overwhelming. Strangulation, lacerated liver, signs of sexual assault. When we talk about this in a child victim as opposed to an adult victim, there are less alternative reasonable explanations for why this would, unless they're saying the medical evidence is completely wrong, right? We're going to bring in our own medical examiner, our own pathologist to say this, these conditions didn't exist. How does a defense attorney fight against this? It seems pretty overwhelming, no?
No, there's no denying that this child was abused severely. I mean, there's not a medical expert in the state of Missouri that's going to come in and deny that this child was abused. What the defense attorney would look to do if they're going to try and fight these charges is whether or not the defendant had sole custody of the child during the entire course of when the abuse could have occurred. So I know in the probable cause statement, it does say that he says he had sole custody of the child for a number of days, but we would look to see if that's an accurate statement or not. We would look to see if there was anyone else that could possibly do this. The defendant taking the child to the hospital would help in the defendant's favor, showing, okay, maybe he didn't actually do that if he has the wherewithal or the compassion to take the child to the hospital seeking help for what's going on with him.
And what do you make of the fact that, just going back to something I mentioned, this didn't happen in the child's home? There were other adults present. They weren't his parents. How does that play into the prosecution's narrative and theory of the case and what we should be thinking about that?
Oh, man, thank you, Bernadette. I appreciate you. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
The prosecution on all counts has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this defendant, Mr. Cotton, is the only one that did this and that nobody else helped or could have been responsible for the crime that was committed. And so his confession certainly helps, but any defense attorney is going to try and poke holes into that story immediately.
And you wonder about other people who are present, cooperating witnesses, maybe a defendant of some kind. It's hard to grasp it. Okay, let me ask you about the charges here. So Cotton's charged with second degree murder, not first degree murder. Can you break down the difference there?
Sure. So first degree murder, there's got to be some deliberation. It's a mens rea issue. It's the mens rea of did he knowingly, or was he certainly aware that the conduct that he was doing was going to cause the victim to die? That's a first-degree murder case.
I don't give a damn about no mens rea. Okay? This man, this grown ass boy, sodomized a 2-year-old, bit the 2-year-old, strangled the 2-year-old, beat the 2-year-old. Who don't know that that would kill a 2-year-old? I think everybody know that. That would have to be on purpose with full knowledge. This is why I be saying the law be some bull, okay? This is first degree murder. This is capital murder. This is, I would argue this is a torture, death penalty case is what I think it is. So I don't know how that could be true. She said, I know she know more than me. She's a lawyer, but I'm just saying I disagree. A person would have to know. This is the little sneaky, tricky shit that they be doing. Like, how you don't know that you would kill a 2-year-old if you do all that to a 2-year-old? Come on, man. The brutality of this crime, he would have to know that he would kill him. It's a 2-year-old.
It is a hard case to prove it in a case like this where there's not a whole lot of evidence outside of the sexual assault. I think the strangulation could get you there if you were really wanting to go for the first degree murder and possibly the death penalty. The way to get there would be to show that, hey, the conduct that the defendant was doing was almost certain to cause the death of the victim. And we know that because he strangled the victim, or at least that's what he admits to doing. And the asphyxiation injuries would point to that. But then secondary murder is a easier case for the prosecutor to make because it just, he just has to show that for the purpose of causing serious physical injury, the victim died because of the defendant's actions.
And you charge abuse of a child resulting in death. That's like, at the very least, you can convict him on that, right? Sometimes you see these in prosecutions. It may be a lesser charge, an important charge, a felony nonetheless, but it's almost as if a jury were not to find him guilty of murder or sodomy, which we'll talk about in a second, you throw that charge in as at the very least, right?
Sure. And a common, I would say, abuse or neglect of a child in this situation is not necessarily a lesser charge, because based off the statute in Missouri, murder in the second degree is a range of punishment of anywhere from 10 to 30 years, which is a 30-year sentence is a life imprisonment, right?
Right.
Abuse or neglect of a child is the same, a 10 to 30-year sentence. However, under the statute, if a child dies as a result of the defendant's conduct, the defendant is not eligible for probation and parole until they've served not less than 15 years of that sentence. So they have to have at least a 15-year sentence on that Class A felony of abuse or neglect of a child. On murder too, there's no minimum as far as the 10 to 30 range.
What's up, man? I see my brother. What is up, man? I got my brother, the Prince of Petty, in the building. He said, "Wine, what up? What up? What we talking about?" Oh, man, we talking about the death of 2-year-old Bre'yeon Wells, who was sodomized, sexually assaulted by his mom's boyfriend, who was playing the role of caretaker while she went to work. And so they're going over this. I'm going over this case. He's charged with second degree murder currently, which I disagree with. I think it should be first degree capital murder, death penalty case, and throw in some torture devices while you're at it. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, man. 2-year-old boy sodomized. He confessed to sodomizing the kid, strangling the kid, biting the kid. He just brutalized this child, man. 2-year-old baby. I'm playing this video, but then I'm going to get into the fact that the mom has been charged with child endangerment because they're saying that she knew this man was a potential danger to this kid, had even witnessed this man being aggressive towards the child, and still left the child in the care of this guy. And I get it, not having any help. The child's father has passed away, but seems like this child still had a godmom who says that she would often watch the kid. I don't care. I mean, lose your damn job. Don't go to work. But never leave your kid with somebody that would endanger your child. If it's your job or the life of your kid, I mean, you choose the life of your kid every time. Let's see. The Prince Petty says the prison folks will do the task for us. Trust me. One can hope, Prince. One can hope. One can hope.
I appreciate you making that distinction. It's important. Talk to me about forcible sodomy and statutory sodomy. Aside from the human perspective of it's hard to grasp my head around that when you're talking about a young child and how disgusting that is, legally speaking, why charge two different counts of sodomy here?
Sure. It's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of just throwing the kitchen sink at them. They're the same exact charge outside of just one different element of each side. So on sodomy in the first degree, it's an unclassified felony, but it's charged as an aggravated offense. So under that count, they'd have to prove forcible compulsion. In order to do that, they just have to show that physical force was used to overcome a reasonable resistance. So it would be reasonable for anyone to imagine that a victim, a child, anyone else in that position would have used some sort of resistance to the defendant's conduct. So you get there pretty easily. But under a subsection, if a prosecutor can prove aggravated sexual offense, it's a minimum term of imprisonment of 10 years. The other caveat to that is it has to be run consecutive to any other counts that are in the indictment. So it would have to be run consecutive to the amount of time that he gets in count 1, count 2, and count 4. And then similarly, in the statutory sodomy count, the prosecutor just has to show, obviously, the age of the child. And under this subsection, because he's under the age of 12, it's a life term or not to be less than 10 years. And so under those two unclassified felonies, they both have to be run consecutive to one another. So on count 3, he can do no less than 10 on that one. Has to be run consecutive to the no less than 15 on the count 2. Has to be run consecutive to the 10 to 30 on count 1, and then has to be run consecutive to whatever no less than 10 on count 4. So the amount of time that he's looking at just by these 4 counts based off of the way the statute reads in Missouri, it's a large amount of time just based off the minimum.
She done did all this conversating about time. She ain't mentioned torture not one time.
Yeah, and if he did this, good. That's exactly what he deserves. Now, he was, our understanding is, he was initially questioned and released, then turned himself in later on. Is that an interesting timeline to use? Does that raise questions about how investigators maybe handle suspicious deaths before they have official confirmation there was foul play here?
It's not unusual, especially in cases like this with a significant amount of medical evidence that is going to have to be gathered and turned over to the prosecutor. There's going to be a SANE exam done, which is a sexual assault examination. Maybe they recover DNA from the sexual assault examination. And then just from the injuries that a medical examiner would observe from the child, there has to be a determination of a homicide prior to issuing an arrest warrant.
You know, one of the tragic aspects of this, Allie, and you cover a lot of these cases, is this mother was put in a very tough position. And there's been, I mentioned before, when you have a lack of resources, maybe a lack of support, you're a mother who has to work. Who do you trust your child with? This is a horrible, horrible case. It is a tragedy. Our hearts go out to this mother, to this family. I don't even know what the lesson is here. I don't even know what could have been done differently. When I saw this case, it's like, how could you imagine something like this would happen? And I don't know what the takeaway is.
I mean, Jesse, the last time you and I spoke, it was about a daycare worker killing a child in a daycare here in Missouri, and now we're talking about a family friend. Some reports say it's her boyfriend killing her own child in the most heinous of ways. The only lesson as a mother that I take away is protect my own child. I'm the only person that I can trust to protect my own child. It's hard, it's devastating, and it's something that no mother should ever have to go through, no family should ever have to go through. And I can't imagine the grief and the overwhelming guilt that she's going to be feeling for the rest of her life. She knows that she left her child with somebody that did heinous things to her child, and she will no longer have her child.
And I think about this, if this goes to trial, she would have to testify. And what a compelling witness she would be for the prosecution. What would the defense do?
Yeah, well, the thing is, she gonna be in her own trial. Who knows if she would testify herself? I guess at the time of this video, she had not been arrested. You know, at this time, it's just, you know, he's been arrested, but she's gonna have to do her own trial anyway. Shout out to Prince of Petty, says Buddy gonna be gone. He has to show his celly his papers on day one. Man, oh man. He ain't going to show, man. I guess he ain't got no choice, man. But you do not want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. People say, "Hey, what you in here for?" You do not want to be that guy, man.
The defense would say, you trusted Mr. Cotton, right? I mean, you felt confident enough to leave your baby in his hands, right? I mean, I don't know what that would even look like, and aside from the pain and the trauma of her having to testify in a trial like this, but I imagine that's what it would look like.
Unless you could use her to establish that there were other people that had care and possession of the child, then this may be a witness that the defense attorney stands up and says, I have no questions for this witness.
Yeah, it's probably a good move. We'll see if this even goes to trial. Allie Young, horrible case, but thank you so much for breaking it down for us and understanding what Mr. Cotton could be facing. Really, really.
Shout out to you, Jesse Weber. Shout out to Law and Crime Network. Okay. You know what, this mom, the mom has been charged, right? But I still think she's gonna get a slap on the wrist. To be honest with you. Because the mom, Bianca Wells, she was charged with endangering the welfare of a child resulting in death. According to investigators, this wasn't a case of a mother being blindsided. They say she knew Cotton was dangerous and left her son with him anyway. Now, the reason I think she's going to get a slap on the wrist, because I think her defense is, I think she's going to say, well, hey, I was being abused, and she's going to cry her eyes out and says that, you know, I was being abused. We couldn't leave. We were held prisoner. And she's going to try to wiggle her way out of this. That's just what I think is going to happen. President Petty says, yes, sir. They have to make sure you're not there for any nonsense like what he's there for. Them prison folks take care of dudes like that. Yeah, I hope they do, Prince. I really do. So it says here, Cotton had a documented history of violence toward the child. According to prosecutors, Bianca had witnessed past behavior from Cotton that clearly showed he was a substantial risk to the life, body, and health of her son. Bring this up. Okay. Got an article here. Mom facing charges after knowing mom faces facing charges after knowingly leaving 2-year-old with dangerous man who eventually killed them. All right. It's a picture of Bianca Wells with her son, Bre'yeon Wells. It says 3 weeks after the horrific killing of 2-year-old Bre'yeon Wells, his mother faces charges in his death. Bianca Wells left Bre'yeon in the care of Nicco Cotton, who allegedly sexually assaulted and asphyxiated the toddler on October 27, 2025. The 21-year-old turned himself into police on October 29th. Wells mourned the loss of her son and created a now deleted GoFundMe account. You know they're going to make that GoFundMe. As prosecutors took a closer look at the case, they found Wells to be complicit in her son's death. Principality says documented history, and he's still left with the kid. Yes, charge her too. Yeah, man. Definitely, she's accountable. According to and I always thought that was weird because they hold people accountable for what they damn dog do, but they don't hold them accountable for their kids. I always thought that was weird. Let's see. According to a probable cause statement, Wells left Bre'yeon in Cotton's care multiple times during October. Prosecutors claim Wells knew based on past behavior that Cotton was a substantial risk to the life, body, and health of her son. Sadly, Wells chose to leave Bre'yeon with him anyway, and it ended in the worst way possible. Bre'yeon suffered He suffered physically and sexually at the hands of a monster. Wells now faces a charge of endangering the welfare of a child, resulting in death. And I think, because see what happens is, man, when these detectives get to talking to family members and they start finding paperwork where 911 was called and police came out to the house and going over past situations, man, I now see they're paying attention to things like that, saying, well, hey, man, we're talking to family members that say that you expressed that this man was aggressive to your kid. Why did you still leave your kid with this man? That's child endangerment all day long. It says here on November 15th, Wells posted a series of photos and videos saying her last goodbye to her son. She wrote, "Today was the hardest day of my life. I had to say my final see you later to my baby. And Lord knows I wasn't prepared for this, but I pushed through for my baby boy. I love you so much. Did it for you, baby," she wrote. Did what for him? Left him in care of a demon? What did you do for him? Huh? Some commenters share well wishes with Wells and prayers for her future. Sending my love and prayers to you. You the best. And LL baby boy, he was the sweetest kid I know. We don't talk a lot, friend. I always come show my support and prayers, one person wrote. And I would assume that because this article has not had any typos thus far, that they copied and pasted this comment the way it was wrote. So this, whatever, I'm not gonna be petty. This person didn't spell check. But others apparently heard the news of her arrest and weren't so kind. So you got people in the community that heard about her arrest and they weren't nice to her. One person wrote, "Dirty B," which, bitch, dirty bitch. "You will pay for what you let happen to that baby. You didn't deserve him," someone else wrote. There's no pain like that of losing a child. If Wells had even the slightest indication that Bre'yeon might not have been safe with Cotton, she never should have left him with the man. That innocent baby didn't stand a chance. She may not have killed him, but there's no excuse for putting your child in harm's way. Ever. Wells and Cotton both remain in the St. Louis City Justice Center awaiting their next court appearance. Apparently, when this article came out, she had not yet made bail. She was let out based on a statute where it's either a person or organization guarantees you will be back in court. So she was released. Cotton, he doesn't have bail at all. So he didn't get bail at all. Oh man. Let's see. Prince Petty says, "Go beg me." He's not go for me. Go beg me. Didn't even want nothing to do with that. So he's saying go for me didn't want nothing to do with hers. Prince Petty also says, I just did a story about little 8-month-old Pablo Golden. The mom reported abuse from the dad, then rolled over the kid. Man, yeah, it's insane. In this case, because I knew people would ask, like, where was the father in this situation? In this situation, the biological dad passed away. That's how tragic this is, too, man. You got a father and a child that are both dead. I mean, two separate instances. I'm not sure what happened to the father, but I'm just thinking about how sad that is. You got this father is passed away, um, not there with the child. The mom's in desperate situations, and not to give her any excuses, but is with this other guy and dependent on him, and that guy kills the kid, and now the mom's arrested facing charges. There's a lot for any one or two families to go through. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I got another article that's talking about it too. Might be the same old. I read this article. I could not get that video to play though. Man, if you look at them, man, these some young babies, man, at that too, man. These some young people, kids having kids. I mean, she's still in high school. Prince Petty says you got an entire family in trouble. Dad deceased, kid deceased, mom facing charges too. Yep, 100. I want to reiterate that Cotton was not a stranger. He was her boyfriend or close friend. Multiple outlets report that Cotton was either Bianca's boyfriend or a close friend who had regular access to her home and child. This means she knew his temperament, she knew his behavior patterns, she had seen how he interacted with her son. And prosecutors say those interactions were not safe. Cotton had already displayed red flags before the murder. While the public record does not list a long criminal history, the mother's own experiences with Cotton were enough for prosecutors to say she knowingly put her child in danger. According to the probable cause statement, Cotton had shown violent tendencies. Cotton had behaved in ways that made him unsafe around the child. Bianca had direct knowledge of these incidents. This is why the state argues she is not simply a grieving mother. She is a mother who ignored danger signs. While prosecutors say she should never have left her child with him, she left her son with him repeatedly despite knowing the risk. Police say that throughout October, Bianca left Bre'yeon in Cotton's care, knowing it would put him at risk. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a pattern. And it says on the day of the murder, Bianca left her son with Cotton while she worked a 10-hour shift. So he had 10 hours to just do what he did. Given the past behavior she had witnessed, prosecutors say this decision was reckless and directly contributed to the child's death. The prosecutor's argument is simple. If you know someone is in danger and you leave your child, if you know someone is dangerous and you leave your child with them anyway, you're responsible for what happens. The probable cause statement explicitly says Bianca knew Cotton was a danger based on his past behavior. This is the legal foundation for her charge. And Cotton's confession shows the violence was not hidden or accidental. Cotton confessed to biting the child, sexually assaulting the child, and strangling him to death. This level of violence is not something that appears out of nowhere. Prosecutors believe Bianca had already seen signs of aggression and ignored them. And I do wonder, I kind of wonder, are they gonna be able to make these charges stick on her though? That is my let me see. Trying to get them both in the shot. I do wonder if the charges will stick. Shout out to Prince Petty says, yes, if you know someone is nuts and you leave your child with that person, you are liable. And that's period. I wonder if they're gonna be able to make the charges stick with her, man. I think she's just gonna throw it on the guy and say she was being abused too, to be honest. Bianca Wells, bottom line, Bianca Wells is being charged because she knew Cotton had a history of dangerous behavior. She continued to leave her son with them. She ignored red flags. She failed to protect her child despite clear warning signs. Her decisions directly enabled the access that led to Bre'yeon's death. This is not speculation. It is what prosecutors stated in the probable cause documents and what multiple news outlets reported. Let's see. Before I give my final thoughts, I do want to go over the lesson: vetting the man around your children. This case is a blueprint for what not to do. Predators don't always force their way in. Sometimes they're invited in, sort of like a vampire. They're trusted and handed access to a child. So vetting practices every mother. So these are the vetting practices every mother must use. Number one is check his background every time. If he has a violent past, a criminal record, or a pattern of instability, your child is not safe. Number two, never leave your child alone with a new partner. Not for a week, not after a month of knowing them, not after a week of knowing them, not until he has proven himself consistently safe. Hell, I would say not even after a year of knowing them. Number three, watch his reactions to boundaries. A man who gets irritated by rules around your child is a man who should never be near your child. And that one is very interesting, man. I've heard stories from women that got children that date, and they've expressed how they've dated men who showed where they had no where they were irritated with the boundaries that the woman might place around their child. You have women that have expressed men who are even jealous of the relationship the mother has with the child. And you got to be careful of a man like that. Number four is don't confuse help with safety. And this is for like that mom. She was in such a desperate situation, she confused help with safety. Just because he's willing to babysit doesn't mean he should. Number five, your child's safety comes before your loneliness. This is the part many people avoid saying out loud, but it's the truth. Number six is if something feels off, act immediately. Your intuition is a survival tool. Use it. Don't worry about if you're wrong. You feel something off, say something, do something about it. You think this guy doing something to your kid, get on it, report it. They're going to investigate it. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But I'm telling you, you rather be wrong than your child get sexually assaulted. Maybe you wrong, the guy mad, he don't want to be with you no more. So what? Report his ass, get him investigated, do something. Trust your intuition. When it comes to the safety of your kid, it don't matter if you're wrong. Just say something. the investigation to tell you if you're wrong or not. But don't worry about, a lot of times, sometimes we be worried about, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm wrong and it ruined the relationship and it hurt the person feeling? Fuck their feelings. Shout out to Prince of Petty, says a good defense attorney will get her off. Believe that it won't stick. Imagine how many mothers would be in jail. That's what I'm worried about, Prince. Man, I think she'll definitely get off given her situation. What is that? The mitigating circumstances, man. I read an article earlier. It's just giving some of her background. She came from being homeless to working, getting an apartment and everything. And recently what happened was she totaled her car, which limited her ability to transport her child. And she could say that, hey, I know, because the godmom is involved and helps her out. She could easily say, well, hey, I usually drop my son off with his godmom, but I totaled my car. And this guy, he's there for me, you know, and he was willing to stay at the house and watching for me because I got to go work so that I don't go back to being homeless, you know. And I'm pretty sure if she says that in court, and any, like you said, any good defense attorney, she can get off with that, even if it's just, you know what I'm saying, she gets probation. All right, I'm ready to wrap it up, man. This is a sad story. If I can, I'll come back and I'll do another story or something. My final thoughts. Bre'yeon Wells didn't fail himself. The adults around him failed him. A predator took his life, but access was granted through a mother's choice. And that's the part we have to confront, because accountability isn't cruelty, it's prevention. Mothers, your child cannot choose who enters their world. That's your job. Vet every man, vet every woman, vet every person. Hell, if you get a pet, vet the pet. Question every motive. Protect your child like their life depends on it, because in this case, it did. I am Diabolical, and this has been Risky Behavior, ENT, where we turn tragedy into truth and truth into prevention. Thank you for all who came through. Don't forget to thumbs up this video and share it. Use it to start conversations. If you see something, say something, man. If you know somebody in a situation like this, man, step in and advise them on what to do. It's just too many stories like this, man. It's just sad and depressing. Man, shout out to Prince Petty, says, man, he don't think she'll even get probation. Probably not, bro. Probably not. Yeah, Prince, man. Yeah, I hope I can get back, man. I just gotta make some phone calls, throw some clothes in the washing machine, man. If I can come back, I will. I was hoping that I would have came on earlier, but I had some family stuff to take care of. Shout out to Cozy, says, what is this? What up, Cozy? I mean, we're at the end of the show. You probably have to watch the replays, but I was going over the death of Bre'yeon Wells. He was a 2-year-old boy that was sexually assaulted and strangled to death by his mother's boyfriend, who she left him in the care of. So I went over that case. It's a case out of St. Louis. The mother's name is Bianca Wells. The boyfriend who is being charged with the death of Bre'yeon Wells, the 2-year-old, his name is Nicco Cotton. He was 21. Yeah. Oh man, hey, I appreciate you all. I'm about to head out. Hopefully I get back to you. If not, peace, blessings, and love. Appreciate you all. Much love to all of y'all. What Cozy say? Oh no, that's sad. My husband James from St. Louis is from St. Louis. Yeah, man. Very, very sad and tragic story. Hopefully, I'm about to end it. Hopefully you you know, go back and, you know, skim through it and, you know, hear some of the details um of this tragic case, man. It's a damn shame. It really, really is. But yeah. So I'm gonna catch y'all later. Peace. Prince, hopefully I'll be back, bro. And Fanatic, man, appreciate you too coming through, helping and moderating today. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat as well. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
Risque behavior.